Well, I've got my best man on fixing your car and he'll get the job done. And now we can get down to business.
Stop! Hold on a second.
Oh, who did kill that poor innocent bastard?
Let me just double check my script. Oh yes, the killer is...
Yes?
Spit it out.
Yeah? Henderson.
Henderson?
I love you, Riley.
This guy stuck me up because you couldn't pay a bit of money. You're a billionaire, Dad! You put my life at risk!
Darling, look, if I know what they would do...
I can't do this anymore! I'm done putting up with all your shit!
What?
Well, I must say, Your Majesty, I'm very impressed with how the cathedral looks. Now, are you sure it's still very secure?
The answer to your question. Over generations, the looking glass has been secured in the Abbey. No one would ever dare break in.
That's what I always like to hear.
Good.
Now then, do you fancy a pint down at the old hairy dog?
First met Mike, I swear it was probably around late 2018, maybe early 2019 time. And, I was just starting work on a project that Rennie Costa had told me to work on called Memoirs of a Dying Man. And that was a black and white gangster project that we did for film festivals. And I was editing that and filming it and, even throwing in ideas for Ren and saying maybe we could do it this way, that way. And, Mike, when he came in, I didn't know who he was. He just came in and, he was originally meant to be the guy to do the lights and the photos and possibly make posters and make it look all, glamorous. And then amazingly, Rennie asked him to be an actor on the film. And Mike dressed up as this really brutal looking gangster with an eye patch and everything. And I thought he looked incredible for that role. And then obviously Rennie thought he did as well. And that's how we kind of ended up working together. And, Mike was very supportive of all my stuff. He wanted to know what I was doing and do I make my own stuff and what do I film and everything. And I said, yeah, I basically make, projects on my own and I do this, and he was asking me all these questions like, what I do and everything. And he was really impressed that because I said to him, I edit it all, I write it, direct my own stuff and everything. And he was like, what, you do it all on your own? I said, about 95% of the time, I end up doing it on my own. And he was like, my God, he's like, that's incredible that you multitask and you do, And I said, yeah, I said, I just like to get things done quickly. I have a camera, I have, my own stuff, and I just go off and do it, and then I come back. And he was like, to me, he was like, well, if you ever need me, just call me. I'd love to be part of whatever it is you do. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then the first project I actually got him involved in was a short film that I did called You Shouldn't Be Here. And that project, became my most successful horror short ever. It's been watched by nearly 2,000 views, and and his involvement was incredible. Although it's funny because he wasn't originally involved in that project. I had somebody else already, and I already filmed it, and everything was done. And then it turns out that the previous actor that I got involved turned out to be a criminal, and I was like, well, I can't have this guy in my film. Get rid of him. And then I called up Mike and was like, Mike, I need your help. I've got this horror short, I need to get it out soon, and I need your help to play this role, and I'm getting desperate. I just need somebody quickly. He was like, okay. He was like, when do you need me? And I said, well, as soon as possible if you can. He was like, how about this weekend? And I was like, perfect, let's do it. And we met up and we done the shoot, and he was phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal. And you know, his acting was really, you know, he was such a natural actor. That's what I loved about him. You know, he was such a natural actor, and everything he did, just, you know, he just done so much better even than the other actors themselves, all these professional actors. And you know, he was the best one, you know, because he really knew how to portray characters in certain ways. And I told him how I was looking for it. He kind of had his own spin on everything, and he'd always say to me, Reece, do you mind if I do this with it and do that with it? Do you mind if I? And I said to him, no, go for it. I want to see what it is you have in mind. And what he would do would be so much better than what I originally would think of. You know, Mike was, you know, I worked with Mike on many other projects, and you know, he also was in my fifth independent feature film called The Wonders of the Looking Glass. He plays the Prime Minister role. He did a bang up job with that role, and we then had I then had him on another short, I believe. Had him in the Shining fan film playing Stuart Ullman, and he then also portrayed a scriptwriter in the last Archie and Jim episode that we did, the one where Jim gets a DVD, and he plays it with Archie, and then all the characters from that DVD start coming out of the TV screens. You know, he did all those, and you know, he always he always had his own ideas of like how he wanted to portray his characters that I wrote for him. I was like, you know, got these ideas that I want you to do, and you know, but he would phone me up, and we would be on the phone for at least half an hour, and he would say to me, I know what I want to do with this character. I've read it, and I know what I want to do with it. And I would say to him, look, Mike, I'm happy for you to do whatever it is you want to do with it. I don't honestly care, because I trusted him that much, because he was that loyal. You know, he would honestly just jump up and do what he's got to do, and then he says to me, right, do you want me to do anything else with it? And then I'll say to him, okay, do this with it, and then he'd do it, and it would just come out amazing. He was literally such a great, you know, collaborator to work with. You know, Mike and me would always talk on the phone now and again. Sometimes I'd see him up by Rennie's house, and we'd talk and have lunch together and everything. And sometimes he would, you know, he'd call me and say, well, let's meet up and have a coffee. Let's meet up and do whatever. And, you know, I would love that, because Mike was, you know, he was such a comforting guy to talk to. Like, you know, how he would speak and how you would listen to him and everything. Like, you know, I used to love having conversations with him. And, you know, he just completely, you know, would tell me all these stories about himself and everything he'd been through and what he was going on and what was happening, and you know, he would tell me everything, and you know, and he'd been through a lot of stuff, but he was just such a humble guy, and he always put other people first, and you know, he always said to me, look, if you ever need me for anything, you know, and that's what I loved about him, you know, because every time I needed someone to replace for a character, you know, I'd phone him up and just be like, you know, Mike, I need your help, and he'd be there. You know, he wouldn't even ask any questions. He would just be there, and that's what I loved about him, and that's what a true friend is, and that's why he was a real true friend. He definitely was a member of my cast family, 100%. You know, I loved working with him, and I loved sticking him in my projects. You know, sometimes I say to him, right, Mike, I've got something here for you. I mean, he was now outsmarted as well, and you know, he helped me out with that. And he did such a fantastic job, because the collaboration between him and David in the scenes was so hilarious, and the ad-libbing and the chemistry between them was absolutely incredible. And I loved it. I loved it so much. It was such a laugh. And coincidentally, that was my last project I worked with him, which was Outsmarted. And yeah, it was a bit, you know, now that I've seen it as the final project we did together, it's a bit strong to know that that was his final project with me. I will miss Mike definitely a lot, because not just because you know, he was always helping me out, but because he always supported me. You know, he always gave me the best support, and you know, he'd say to me, look, Reece, you know, you're going to go far, and your ideas are so on board, and you know, you need to do this. You know, he was just such a wonderful, supportive human being, and I'm really honoured that I got to know him, and I'm really honoured that we became really good close friends, and you know, and working with him and everything. And everybody who knew him loved him. You know, everybody who knew him knew he was such a positive, loving, hard-working guy, and you know, just so down to earth, and you know, really like, you know, he was just terrific, you know. There was no other guy that would, you know, just be there, you know, because every time I said to him, I need you, you know, he'd just be there, and that's what I loved about him. He was just always there, and that's what I'll miss about him, definitely. But you know, it's nice to know that I worked with him on many projects, and you know, it's nice to know that I have worked with him, and we've done quite a lot together, and so, you know, it's nice to know that I have those memories of looking back on those films and saying, yeah, he done that. And I got the news about his passing. In fact, before I mention that, the last time I actually spoke to him was November of 2023, and he phoned me up and said, because he hadn't spoken to me for ages, he said, sorry, I've been in touch with you, I haven't been very well, because he was meant to be coming to my wedding, and he was also meant to be in the Christmas special, Christmas Threes. He was meant to be playing my uncle, but he phoned me up and said, you know, I haven't been very well. And I said, so that's, you know, that's fine, Mike. You know, if you're not well, don't worry about it. You know, you can't come to the wedding, can't do the film. It's absolutely fine. And yeah, I remember, you know, he phoned me up and told me everything and said, you know, good luck with everything. And the last thing he said to me was, you know, I'll hope to see you soon and we'll catch up. And I said, yeah, definitely. You know, I said, I'll be there. And yeah, that was the last time that I spoke to him. And then I think I remember sending him a text at Christmas, so Merry Christmas, you know, hope everything's alright. I think that's the last message I sent him, but I never got a reply back, but obviously because, you know, he wasn't very well. And I never thought anything of it, you know, I just carried on. But then, next thing you know, yeah, I saw a post from one of my friends that posted about his death, and then that's how I found out. I was on my way to work and I found out, and I was a bit gutted to find out that that he had sadly gone. But he'll be missed, definitely, by everybody who knew him. And yeah, like I say, he was a great guy, and I'm really honoured to have known him. And you know, I'll look back on all those films and know that he did an amazing job with everything he did. So yeah, you know, I'll miss him.